Okay, right, day 3. So it's still actually day 1 for me, but I just wanted to get this stuff out. Right, so day 3. What we're doing today, we've got into, we're starting the habit of doing our exercise, right? Daily exercise, even if it's only the 5-minute corpse posture, bare minimum. Which is, this is the most, you can't get easier than that. You just lie there and do nothing, and you just breathe deeply for 5 minutes. You know, that's the. So we've started off easy, right? We're getting you into it gradually. Now we've got to start dealing with other aspects of the physical plane. So we're going to start thinking of diet. We've got to get minerals into our body. So and not just minerals, vitamins. So as a quick, if you're not that clued up about it, there's two things that you really, well, there's a few things you really got to start including in your diet. Now that is good quality butter, raw, not raw, but ideally raw butter. You know, if you can get it, raw grass-fed butter, but just grass-fed butter. You know, it's going to be more expensive than your cheaper butter, but get it. And also oily fish. You want to get good quality oily fish, preferably from the Atlantic Ocean. Something like some smoked mackerel or sardines would be pretty good. Yeah, so some oily fish or good quality fish oil would be okay, and some butter oil. It'd be great to make your own ghee out of the good quality butter. But if you can't be bothered with that, just get some good quality grass-fed butter and some good quality oily fish, and have that, you know, regularly in your diet. You want the oily fish 2 or 3 times a week, and the butter regularly. The good thing about turning the butter into ghee is you can just use that as your oil for everything, and you know, use it as a spread on bread, or you know, whatever you're going to use fat or oil in for cooking or whatever. Just use the ghee, the good high quality butter ghee. So you're getting all those oil soluble vitamins. Then you've got to start in making sure that you get good quality water. Now, ideally, you want to, if you haven't already been getting good quality water for the last 6 months, you need to, ideally, you want to go back and start getting good quality water for 6 months, and then start these videos again. But if you want to just rush ahead anyway, you've got to get a good source of water. But if you can't get a good source of water, then cut down the amount of water you consume, and instead consume good quality fruits and vegetables and stuff, you know, to get your liquid that way. And maybe consider some urine therapy as well, to recycle your own water, so that you're not bringing poisons into your body, you know, continually. Although there's going to be a certain amount of poisons in your urine, so you know, I wouldn't recommend drinking all of your urine myself, although some people do recommend that. It can be helpful just to do a little bit of it, because you're updating your body in what's going on, what's coming back out of your body, you know, in a sort of like semi-conscious way. So it can be very useful, I've found, a small amount of urine therapy. You've got to get good foods into your diet. Now, you've got to get also, to get good foods in your system, you need a good digestive system. So you've got to have what's it called? You know, probiotics, like things like sauerkraut. It's good to make your own sauerkraut, because it's very difficult to buy live sauerkraut that hasn't been like pasteurized. So ideally, you want to make your own sauerkraut, because if you can't get it, get some good quality probiotics. I found Yakult is really good. It's about one of the most expensive ones, but it's really good. Kefir, kombucha, you know, those sort of things. You want to have a couple of things like that you're taking regularly for your intestinal flora. You know, the meditation or yoga will help with that, you know, keeping it in. Also, you want to have good quality food, high density food, enzyme rich foods, things like bee pollen, raw honey, raw milk products, organic vegetables, you know, raw fruits that have been freshly picked, ideally that you've picked yourself from the wild or from, you know, from an organic garden. As much of that sort of stuff as possible. You've got to get as healthy as possible. And also nutrient dense foods. There's foods like kiwis, sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds. Steer clear of gluten foods, fried foods, that sort of thing. You've got to start doing serious research. Right, the first couple of days, this is day 3, right? The first couple of days, I've gone easy on you. You've had about 15 minutes a day, you know, instead of the 40 minutes a day. You've got to start catching up now. If you want this to work, you've got to start catching up. You've got to do some research. Feng shui. You want to start getting your knowledge of directions, you know, and how they all works in terms of feng shui. That's what I recommend. You've got to do some research in some way, whether it's your food, getting your diet sorted out, or whether it's feng shui or a bit of both. You've got about 2 hours of work to do today to catch up for your 40 minutes a day. So somewhere along the line, you've got to make up this time, you know. And so feng shui is important because it's even if it's just tidying where you live up. You don't have to necessarily know all about the directions, but that could be helpful. And I recommend putting half an hour or 40 minutes or an hour into that sort of thing, you know, to just get an understanding. You don't have to learn too much. Just get the basics. Look at a few basic videos. You know, do a little bit of research. Then also there's some other vitamins that are worth checking out, like getting good. Make sure you've got B12 and certain minerals, copper, selenium. Certain herbs are really useful. I'm going to mention 4 herbs that I found are really useful. That are adaptogenic herbs, which are ashwagandha, rhodiola, reishi mushroom, and gynostema or miracle grass. Right, they're the 4 adaptogens that I found that work the best and they're the most value for money. So they're also worth getting involved. These things are all worth doing because you've got to, if you want to progress into the higher realms, you've got to stabilize and make efficient your physical body. So you've got to get it working efficiently, you know, as soon as possible. And you've got to make it, and that involves stopping all the poison that's going into your system and putting as much good stuff into your system as possible. So do research on diet and feng shui, because that's your surroundings. You know, that's also going to have a significant effect on the way you feel and your general efficiency. So there's two aspects there to cover today, and you've got you know, 50 minutes and 40 minutes, about an hour and a half's work to do to catch up and get on track for day 3.